open the hearing on SB191. It's going to sound real similar. We're going to talk about libraries, school libraries, with some differences. So we appreciate you being here today. And I understand that Senator Woodhouse, you've got some other folks that are going to testify, and the order that I have is yourself, then Natha, then Christina Rhodes, and then Chris Daly. So with that, when you're ready, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair Dennis and committee members. For the record, I am Joyce Woodhouse, representing Senate District 5 in Clark County, and I'm here today to present Senate Bill 191, which requires each public school in a school district to establish and maintain a school library that meets certain standards. Research consistently shows that when children have access to good libraries with plenty of books and adequate staffing, they read more and do better on reading tests. For children in poverty, libraries are often their only available source of reading material. Having a collection of books is not enough to make a good library. A 2012 report on Pennsylvania school libraries found the most important element in a strong library program is a full-time certified librarian with support staff. School librarians and teachers form an instructional team when they combine their knowledge of teaching strategies, resources, and technology to meet the specific needs of each student. A 2009 study of Idaho school libraries found that teachers were 3 times more likely to rate their literacy teaching as excellent when they collaborated with their school librarians. A 2000 study in Pennsylvania found student test scores were higher when librarians worked cooperatively with classroom teachers, independently taught information literacy, and provided in-service training to their teachers. Research is clear. School libraries and school librarians propel student achievement. Senate Bill 191 ensures all public school students in Nevada have access to school libraries by requiring each school, including charter schools, to establish and maintain a library that has a licensed librarian with certain exceptions and provides library services to the students and the staff of the school. Unfortunately, it is not always possible to have a certified librarian in the school library. Due to funding issues, the availability of a licensed librarian, or the size of a school district, among other challenges. That is why Senate Bill 191 is being proposed. Our goal is to continue to support having a library in every school. I'd also like to place on the record, and it's also on Nellis, this article from the Phi Delta Kappan. The date on it is March 26, 2018, and it is entitled, quote, "Why School Librarians Matter, What Years of Research Tells Us." So we'd put that on the record. So, Mr. Chair, at this time, I would like to turn the microphone over to Natha Anderson of the Washoe Education Association and Christina Rhodes, a Washoe County School Librarian, for their remarks. Following them, Chris Daly of NSEA will then cover some proposed amendments, which I consider to be friendly. And I thank you for your kind attention.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you, Senator Woodhouse, for sponsoring SB 191 and sharing the concerns for our school libraries and teaching librarians.
Don't forget your name.
Good afternoon, Natha Anderson of the Washoe Education Association. Again, thank you, Senator Woodhouse. Today I'm coming forward as a 21-year teacher, but a president of Washoe Education Association, who also represents school librarians. But today, really, I'm representing also both my parents. I am the daughter of 2 librarians. My father, actually, before becoming a history teacher, his degree is actually a Bachelor of Science in Library Resources from the University of Nevada. His first 5 or 6 years, he worked at Worcester High School as a librarian. And then my mother, at a time frame, although a teacher as well, she was a teacher at a time frame when she started to show from being pregnant and was told, "Mrs. Anderson, you're a fabulous teacher, but we can't have you continue to teach." And she then found a job almost right away as a Washoe County librarian. So I was brought up in the libraries. And I don't feel that I'm in the minority in this room or in the room in Vegas. We are all celebrating librarians today. So I've I'm going to try to take out a few parts of my presentation just because they would become repetitive. And there's no need for me to keep on beating a dead horse. So the first thing, though, I do want to bring up is that image of our librarians. This image of the librarians as just a provider of books is not accurate. They are ninjas of knowledge. As educators, so many times I would be trying to plan a lesson or a unit, and I would go down and I would speak with my school librarian, Barbara Talbot, and currently Tammy Ruff, and they would figure out some different technology that I had never even thought of. Or they would figure out, well, why don't you do this? Why don't we figure out a different way? And so they were not just about, here's the right book. It was more, here's another way. Here's a way to differentiate our instruction. One in particular I can think about is something that I used to do called the College Cramorama, where the students would have to research different universities, but they would also have to research trade schools and different junior colleges, and what's the difference with that. And Barbara was excellent not only in getting me the resources, but more importantly, figuring out an opportunity for our students that were not in my class, that were actually younger, to be able to have those presentations take place. So that library was the hub of our school at North Valleys. But sadly, these rich discussions and opportunities are slowly departing us. As one of our librarians in Washoe County, Marilyn Bennett, explained, when I started in libraries in 2008, high schools and middle schools in Washoe County had a 7-hour assistant as well as the librarian, and many high schools also had a 5-hour assistant. 2 or 3 years later, the 7-hour assistants were cut from our middle schools. Our high school assistants were completely cut as well. We work hard to consistently keep the library open for our students from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. She opens up the school, she opens up the library, and she is never the first one there. When Mrs. Sorensen, her assistant, closes the library at 4 o'clock, Mrs. Sorensen is not the last one there. Our students utilize our libraries. And it's not just because of the book, it's also because of the books, it's also because it is a safe environment. And I think that's one reason why the studies that both Senator Woodhouse brought up, as well as other educators brought up earlier, show our students do better in reading and writing, which totally makes sense, but then also in math, because they're getting more and more individualized attention. I know there's a few more things to go through. However, again, I don't want to become repetitive, and so I'd like to hand it over to Christina Rhodes, if that's all right.
Hi, Christina Rhodes. I'm a certified teacher librarian. I'd like to thank the Senate Committee for allowing me to speak today regarding Senate Bill 191. On behalf of Washoe County Certified Teacher Librarians, I'm here to tell you the importance of a certified teacher librarian. Most people I talk to that don't work directly in schools think we just check out books. Certified teacher librarians are so much more than that. Certified teacher librarians are teachers and play many roles and positions in our schools. We promote literacy. We are the school's built-in implementation specialist. We provide professional development and provide social-emotional learning lessons and lessons that are aligned with standards. I have been in education for many years, and our certified teacher librarians are making leaps and bounds with connecting the 21st century competencies with the NVACs, the Nevada Academic Content Standards. All the while, we are supporting teachers along the way. Certified teacher librarians offer so much to our school sites, everything from lessons to teaching blogs and videography to research and professional development for staff members. Certified teacher librarians have a teaching degree, have many years of teaching experience. We incorporate the AASL standards, which are the American Association of School Librarian Standards, as well as the NVACs. We also do 21st century coursework. We also hold a master's degree in library sciences and are evaluated on a teacher evaluation as well as a professional standard evaluation. Why should that matter? Not only as a certified teacher librarian, but as a parent or a community member, I want a certified teacher librarian in my school. I want a certified teacher librarian that has experience in pedagogy, classroom management, curriculum and instruction, how to align a lesson with the NVAC standards, how to scaffold curriculum, how to make an impromptu lesson modification, how to be able to teach research skills and teach students how to cite evidence with line numbers, how to analyze fake news, how to be able to implement the 21st century standards, and prepare lessons that will allow my child to be college and career ready. An example of a lesson where I supported literacy and allow my students to be college and career ready is a lesson I just completed last week at Clayton Middle School. At Clayton Middle School, I had every 7th grade student come up, which is about 400 students, in the library for a book tasting lesson. The kids went to different stations that had books that suited different types of readers. The lesson was designed so that every student could walk out of the library with a book in their hand that they absolutely loved. The students read their independent reading books and then came back up to the library to create a video using a Web 2.0 tool called Seesaw. They recorded book reviews that tackled many standards, just like they would apply in real life when making a YouTube video. These 21st century skills in the library are vital to this generation. Certified teacher librarians not only support literacy, we are teaching skills for our students to be college and career ready. When I've spoken with teachers, they've mentioned that they don't have time to teach additional standards like the 21st century standards with their standards and pacing guides. Certified teacher librarians collaborate with staff and support staff with their lessons by weaving in the 21st century standards that a classroom teacher does not have time to take a deep dive into. Certified teacher librarians are impacting every student on campus. We are teaching 6 class periods a day and reaching up to 170 plus students a day with lessons that are cutting edge, standards aligned, and apply 21st century skills. Certified teacher librarians also support equitable access. Students have access to resources. It's not reserved for just certain classes or certain groups of kids. Our library is open before school, after school, and at lunch for STEM activities and coding activities. The school library supports all students, all staff, and the community. Without certified teacher librarians, our students will not receive direct instruction from a teacher. They will not receive lessons that are 21st century aligned, and they will not be competitive in a job market where our students deserve to be college and career ready. Thank you.
I'm just saying thank you again, Chair Dennis and Senator Woodhouse and the Senate Education Committee for this opportunity to celebrate our ninjas of knowledge with SB 191. I believe Senator Woodhouse and Chris Daly have some amendments to bring forward.
Mr. Chair, Chris Daly, Nevada State Education Association, the voice of Nevada educators for over 100 years. I get the job of running through some draft amendments to SB 191. Our hope and intent with this bill and with this amended language is to have legislation that requires library services in each school to utilize a teacher or school librarian wherever possible to preserve the existing individuals who are library assistants and to provide them with meaningful and relevant professional development in library sciences. So the changes that we are looking to make start in Section 3 with the definition of library services, expanding and hopefully strengthening that to add instruction on access and use of library materials, digital citizenship, and reference services to provide answers to student questions. The next changes are in Section 5 with the definition of school librarian, and that we add teacher librarian as well, and we limit that to an individual who is a person who holds an endorsement as a school library media specialist. Then along in that section, we actually name and define a school library assistant, meaning a person employed by a school district to provide library services in a school library established and maintained pursuant to Section 7 of this Act, who is not a school librarian or teacher librarian. So those subsections 2 and 3 just get struck in that Section 5. The next changes are in Section 8, where we further clarify the requirements for librarians in charter schools, and then add clarification to the grandfathering provisions that schools that currently have librarian assistants will not have to hire certified librarians until the natural attrition of those library assistants. So in Section 8.1, it should read, except as otherwise provided in this section or Section 9 of this Act, each public school and charter school in a school district, including the State Public School Charter Authority and the Achievement School District, shall employ a school librarian. The subsection 2 there then gets struck. And then we add language down in, we add language to this section, so a couple of additional subsections. If a school employs a school librarian assistant but not a school librarian on the effective date of this legislation, that school is exempt from the requirement in subsection 1 of this section until such time as that school librarian aide is no longer, or assistant, is no longer employed to provide library services at that school site. And then further, a school librarian aide, a school library aide employed on the effective date of this legislation may transfer to another school within the district, subject to the terms of their collective bargaining agreement, at which point that school is exempted from the requirement in subsection 1 of this section until such time as that school library assistant is no longer employed to provide library services at that school site. So basically, for the example of the elementary schools in Washoe County, that library assistants who are currently employed in those libraries can stay at that library, or pursuant to their collective bargaining agreement, if they're transferred to a different school, they could meet that requirement, but through either their professional development to the time they become certified librarians, if that happens, sometimes it does, even though it's difficult, or to their natural attrition, to if they transfer, leave, retire, et cetera. At that point, those school sites that would have to hire a certified librarian or a school librarian or teacher librarian as defined in this section. We think that this makes sense based on both financial issues expressed by the Washoe County School District, as well as the availability of certified librarians to be hired, that the natural attrition will actually cue nicely to the availability and ability of the district to hire certified librarians. Finally, in section 9, dealing with the rural school districts and issues they face, we are asking that 9.1A, 9.3, and 9.4 get deleted, and in their place is a mechanism actually that is borrowed from the process that waivers to school class size reduction are granted in this state. We have 9.2, schools and districts with populations less than 100,000 may receive a waiver from the Board of Education from the requirement in section 8.1 after the district submits a plan to the board identifying the reasons they're unable to hire a school librarian and detailing how they will provide library services to all students at that school. And then in 9.5, to change that section to a waiver granted by the Board of Education pursuant to subsection 2 expires on June 30th of the following odd-numbered year. So every other year, those schools in those districts would have to go through the process through the Board of Education to apply for and then possibly be granted a waiver from the requirements. Happy to answer any questions about those amendments.
Okay. All right, so you're done with the presentation, so we could do questions. Questions? None for now. You must have been really clear. or we just spent an hour talking about libraries and and so there's a lot of similar issues. So, okay, so with that, we'll take now those wishing to speak in support of the bill, if you would come forward here and in Las Vegas. Go ahead, and when you're ready, and begin. And identify yourself for the record.
Of course. Thank you. My name is Diane Baker. I am the interim library director for Carson City Library and the co-chair for the Nevada Library Association Government Relations Committee. And I am here in support of Senate Bill 191. Schools with a strong library program and certified staff ensure students have the best chance to succeed. Research studies from various education and library institutions have demonstrated that strong school libraries have a clear impact on improved student achievement. School libraries are learning hubs that extend literacy and education options for all grade levels and abilities. School library programs assist learners with access to books and materials, technology, online databases, and other resources to support reading success, digital literacy skills, information literacy, and development of critical thinking and independent learning skills. Certified school librarians and staff make the K-12 learning process effective. They are partners with classroom teachers and other community members that connect educators to current trends and resources. A strong school library program is demonstrated here in Carson City at the Carson City High School, which has been a solid partner with the Carson City Library in teaching digital literacy skills to all high school freshmen. A coordinated, impactful program of classroom and school library instruction plus out-of-school training at Carson City Library's Digitorium provide digital literacy skills in instruction and practice as students prepare public service announcements, PSAs, in video form. Students gain these 21st century skills because there is a strong school library and staff and a unique commitment from the school district, the city, the Library Board of Trustees, and public library staff. I urge you to support the Senate Bill 191 to develop and expand strong school libraries. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Alexander Marks with the Nevada State Education Association. NSA fully appreciates the important function of libraries in public education, and we're proud to be an organizational sponsor of SB 191 to ensure that every student has access to a school library. School libraries play a critical role in our schools and communities. School librarians and library assistants support student achievement by providing research, help, digital learning opportunities, and professional development programs, in addition to providing the traditional library services to help prepare strong students. We know when we spend money on school libraries we know when spending for school libraries increases, so does improved student literacy. Numerous studies have shown, which have already been mentioned here today, access to a school library is an equity issue that, according to our resources, suggests that our poorest and most racially diverse communities have the least access to library services. Graduation rates and reading and math achievement were significantly higher in schools with high-quality libraries and certified librarians, even after controlling for other factors like school spending, class size, and poverty. NSEA has worked with Senator Woodhouse to develop SB 191 to require library space and materials as well as library services at every school. SB 191 defines the role of teacher or school librarian and library assistant and provides library assistants access to important professional development through available library science programs. Recognizing the lack of certified librarians in our state, SB 191 allows for our existing library assistants to continue their role, avoiding the specter of layoffs that would only work against the goal of promoting access to library service. NSEA believes that SB 191 is the most responsible long-term path to getting certified librarians and the critical library services they provide in every school, regardless of their zip code. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Melissa Bozen, President of the Washoe Education Support Professionals, and I am here to support SB 191. As mentioned earlier, I do have 63 ESPs and 35 substitutes that we are looking after. But also, it goes much deeper than that. This bill will allow those assistants or associates that wish to continue their education to become a certified, the opportunity and the time to be able to go ahead and do that. One. Two, the other thing is that, as mentioned earlier, we do not have 63 certified librarians to be able to slip into those spots. So my fear as a parent is that those libraries will go silent or that they will be limited. We would love to have been able to have had more library assistants and associates, but I was emailed back saying that they needed to be there for their teachers as well as their students. So they take these jobs very seriously. The librarian assistant at my son's school at Gomes Elementary in Cold Springs, Nevada, she just put together the reading week, and it was Harry Potter. So each grade level was assigned a different house, and my son was so excited, and now I get to be able to watch all Harry Potter movies this weekend, so I'm very looking forward to that. So I am very much in support of SB 191 to be able to keep these wonderful and amazing librarian assistants and associates doing the job that they are meant to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chris Dox, Whitehead Elementary School. This is a critical piece of legislation for sure. Every school should have a library.
Is your button on?
Oh, yeah. Oops.
Okay, you're
I'll
just
talk
really
louder.
soft. Yes. Make sure you get right into the microphone.
You betcha. This is a critical piece of legislation. Every school should have a library. Every school should have a librarian, and SB 191 will ensure that WCSD will keep the current professional structure we have now. Many classified librarians in the elementary school have degrees in other fields. They bring that passion for their field to study. One of the things I wanted to touch on while I was here, I feel like we've touched a lot of bases, is what I teach. So I wanted to talk a little bit, because I'm very excited to talk about it, is the curriculum arc we're following right now at Whitehead Elementary School for our 5th and 6th graders. We've been following it for a couple of months, and it's a book study on what the world eats, and 52 animal tales from around the world. We use Flipgrid, which is a app that's on the iPad, so we do bring in that 21st century learning into answering questions and viewing peer comments. That 52, What the World Eats is a book that has pictures of families and all their groceries for a week from around the world. So Guatemala, United States, and we scaffold that to build it into other questions and just give them a broad base of experience based on that and the animal tales that we read in conjunction with. Students answer their questions in real time. So as we go through our studies, somebody has a question, and I send them to the computers or the iPads to look it up, and then we evaluate those sources that we're looking up information on to see if they're true and relevant. So just to give you an idea that with your classified employees, we don't just check in and out books. There's a whole structure, and it's really amazing to work in Washoe County School District. I really hope that you guys take to heart what we are saying here and approve this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
My name is Linda Mitchell, and I am with Washoe County Services Library, Washoe County School District Library Services Department. Thank you, Chairman Dennis, and members of the committee for allowing me to speak on behalf of SB 191. I think I'm probably mostly speaking to Section 5, Numbers 2 and 3, with definition of school librarian. 20 years ago when I joined the elementary library family, our role as librarians was quite different than it is now. However, I feel strongly that we have evolved quite nicely with the ever-changing demands and district requirements. Our official titles are Associate 2 and Library Assistant 2. However, we are assistant to no one other than our students and our staff. We are alone in the library to competently manage every aspect of the library, from serving 100% of our student body every week to collaborating with and assisting teachers, to collection development and management, to fundraising for books, technology, and student rewards. Classified librarians have been successfully managing elementary libraries in Washoe County for over 45 years. Never once has a principal made the decision to eliminate the librarian due to budget cuts, which I understand has happened in Clark County. I believe our principals and our teachers value our role in the school. We are the caretakers of the heart of the school. We provide the warm and fuzzy. We form lifelong bonds with our students and parents. Our elementary librarians are all paraprofessionals or associates. They receive 4 hours of professional development 5 times during the 9-month school year, and many take additional classes on their own. Classified librarians teach students the necessary library skills appropriate for their age and grade as they progress from kindergarten to 6th grade. We teach them how to use the library, how to research safely. We teach them life skills through social emotional learning. We teach them about digital citizenship, being careful with social media, and how hurtful bullying is. We talk about the importance of kindness and being a good friend. There are so many hidden lessons in what we do and in what we read to them. That's my time, isn't it?
Yes.
I just ask you to give serious consideration to keeping the paraprofessionals and associates in Washoe County School District for the sake of our children.
Thank you. At least it's kind of a pleasant alarm.
It is.